Welcome back, everyone, to our Succession series in Rule the Waves, playing as France with the Historical Gamer, XTRG, and myself, Tortuga Power. So far, our legacy as Naval Director has only been one of scrapping some old ships and retrofitting also retrofitting old ships. It's all about old ships. Hopefully that changes in this episode. If everything goes well, we'll finish off the remaining Historical Gamer ships, which means unpausing the Tortuga Power and Redoubtable. And we'll also hopefully begin work on the first true French dreadnought. Okay, but let's start off, unfortunately, by doing more of the same. We have a lot more retrofits to go. I'm going to try to blow through these pretty quickly. I do have I'm asking the hard questions. Why are a lot of these ships overweight? I don't really understand why they were designed this way, but in order to avoid that, we have to take this down to 70 rounds per gun to make sure that it's not overweight anymore. This is kind of a really ugly design. Again, this is a legacy fleet. Legacy just means that those are the ones that Historical Gamer started with without any choice. So basically what I'm trying to say is don't blame the previous Naval Director. He also was weighed down with these kind of problem ships. But it's a little bit weird that they were just designed overweight. That's usually a problem that the Russians had historically, more than anybody else. So we're going to be doing this now. Unfortunately, I can't just take all these Guidon classes out, or Guidon, however you say it. Probably Gi? No, that's Japanese, I don't know. Anyway, we have to be careful to watch our foreign tonnage. So we just took one out from somewhere, I don't even know where, but if we took the one out from the Indian Ocean, 13.4, we'll be okay. So let's also rebuild that one then. Eventually, I'm sure we have plenty of space in the Mediterranean, plenty of ships there, I should say. So we'll rebuild these. Southeast Asia, how we looking there? Only 500, yeah. So we'll have to move another ship into Southeast Asia. Maybe one of the Guidon classes one of the other Guidon class who finished their reconstruction. We'll have to move them over to Southeast Asia to allow this Duncan to begin her retrofits, because otherwise we won't be satisfying the foreign tonnage. The Deputy Trois is another ship that's overweight. Just looking at these off camera. Kind of horrified that these guys all, again, legacy, but gosh, I don't even feel like it's sensible. We're going to leave this one a little bit overweight because I just can't take something down below 70. 70 is like really, really pushing it for just a one-on-one duel. And there's a decent likelihood you'll run out of ammo, which in a one-on-one duel is also really, really bad. But 80 is a little comfortable. It just means that these ships will not function very well in a fleet role, where you end up firing a lot more. Okay, so we'll save this one as being a little bit overweight, but at least it has better fire control. And I never showed this, but this is one of the problems with putting 8-inch guns on your armored cruisers. They're almost identical in terms of performance. I can show you that. Here's our 8-inch guns, 69, 55, 12.2. And then if I go over to 9-inch guns, 69, 55, 12.2. Max range is almost identical, just 55 is the only difference. 69 versus 74, and 55 versus 6. Very, very moderate difference, very small difference. But the weight is quite significant. So we can see that, that increase in whatever was less than 10%, but the weight increase is pretty significant. 312 versus 384. So we're looking at, how do I roughly approximate that? Like a 30% change in weight, more or less? Okay, not quite, but about that. Anyway, I just want to show that if you don't have the 9-inch guns, though, and double turrets on these armored cruisers, you do pay this penalty in the 10% reduced rate of fire. And that 10% reduced rate of fire, in my opinion, is enough to convince me, at least, in my ships to do the 9-inch guns, despite the fact that they're not all that much better. But that's okay, we'll just keep doing this. Okay, so you're in Northern Europe, so you're free to go. Northern Europe. Try to just get these out of the way in the beginning of the episode so we can cruise along, hopefully, to our first dreadnought. Now, these are different revisions, so we'll have to design them individually. This ship is, and this is the one that Historical Gamer designed. I'm not sure if this is some kind of like problem with the save game, that these designs are coming up strange or something. I mean, with the passing of the save game. I don't think so, but They have 300 tons they were underweight by 300 tons. It's nothing like the Trident class from last episode, but it's still pretty significant. In order to get around that, I think we can just add a bunch of torpedoes and increase this up to, maybe like 160 or so. That still gives us over 100 tons of weight, even after central firing is added. That's a pretty decent ship, and the weight and the cost is not that high. If we want to do anything like change the main guns, change even adding secondary guns, this is going to jump up by a significant amount. Now the problem with this is, I've already mentioned that the guns and the double turrets take that massive rate of fire penalty. So we'll still be losing that 40% to the secondary guns. And I think it also is occurring with the tertiary guns, although it's not mentioned here. So here it is, the 40%. We don't have the training or the technology, basically, for using these double guns, these double gun turrets. And the same problem with the 8-inch versus 9-inch, that we're getting that 10% decrease, but that's okay. It's still a really good ship. We've seen it perform rather well in the last war with Historical Gamer as the director. So we trust that this ship can be good. This is the thing about doing two separate, or not retrofitting. I like to retrofit every ship in a class all at the same time or more, or put them all to the same revision. Because these guys were in different revisions, I'm going to have to design each one separately. So I would like to rebuild this to the 1907, but that design only exists for the original Latouche Treville, which means I'm going to have to just do the same thing really quick here. We'll do it exactly the same way though. 160 central firing is it already has, and then grab those 4 torpedoes. 105, it's identical, and although it is identical, it will still be a different ship class. They will always be, once you don't retrofit ships together, they're forever on divergent paths. You'll have to always retrofit them as different designs. I mean, I could have avoided that by retrofitting first the original Latouche Treville to the 1904, and then after that doing the upgrade to the 1907, but obviously that's quite wasteful, so. Now we're probably a little bit strapped for, I don't know if foreign tonnage has even updated yet, because do we actually have, because we already retrofitted the Gaydon. Oh god, do we have enough in West Africa? Let's take a look at, Indian Ocean has 6,100. Well, I guess we can do it this way. So Indian Ocean, we have force requirement, 4,000, we have 61, good. Okay, so we are actually short on West Africa. You can see this, it didn't update. So we're short, because the Guidon, we just sent this guy in to retrofit, but that has not updated, so let's just grab, I think we can just grab any old ship that can move from anywhere, Mediterranean or Northern Europe, and get to West Africa on one turn. Yeah, so the tonnage on foreign stations is it's alerting us to the problem. Okay, very good, so let's sort by type again. What kind of ship do I want to send down there? Sphax class. Let's get maybe 2 of these guys. And what I'll do actually is I'm going to satisfy the foreign tonnage requirement by putting them on foreign tonnage. Foreign stations. But then we will also move them directly where I want them to go, to West Africa. We just need to make sure we take on foreign station for these guys on the next turn. Otherwise they'll move around. They'll shift themselves to places where they think they're needed. We don't want them to do that. We want them to only move when we tell them to move. We say jump, they say how high, right? Okay. Although we will actually want to upgrade the Sphax. We don't have the tonnage in Southeast Asia, as we've already seen, so we can't do anything there. But we can upgrade the 2 other Sphaxes. Might as well get these done, and then we'll keep pushing. After these are retrofitted, we can move them to West Africa, and then keep cycling new ships in like that. So central firing, this one had a little bit of space left over. We'll just give it a little bit more ammunition. 170 seems okay to me. Still have 8 weight remaining. I like that. A little bit of stability, added stability for the ship. Design is done. So get that Sphax, and then the other one also to rebuild. Oops. Okay. Let's see. West Africa, we can't get rid of this guy, but we can get this one to start being redesigned. Central firing. This one, another ship that just surprisingly has a lot of empty space. We'll add those torpedoes and then just increase ammunition. I don't think we'll need more than 180, so we'll leave this one running quite light. Yeah, we'll leave it like that for now. Okay, save. I'm not sure if I made fun of the Guidon enough. There's one other thing I wanted to mention, that this is basically, no, it's not the Guidon, it's the Cosmo. This ship I'm just horrified by. We can't do anything with it because it's in the Indian Ocean, and I don't think the Indian Ocean, it doesn't have enough tonnage there that we can do anything with this Cosmo yet. Once the Guidon come back, we can switch them over, cycle in new ships to get the Cosmo out. But this is a heavy cruiser. It's really a light cruiser. This is just a poor naming. I mean, this is not an armored cruiser. It's really a light cruiser. It even has the light cruiser protected cruiser armored scheme, which is normally only for light cruisers. Why? Is because it's the worst armor that you can have. This kind of sloping, as you imagine, actually increases penetration from an arcing shell. It's almost exactly the worst situation. It was designed for barrages which were just almost exactly parallel with the water, so exactly horizontal. Then this makes sense, but as ship fire arcs get to be more arcy and less horizontal, this armor becomes worse and worse and worse. So you want to get out of this protected cruiser armor as fast as possible, and armored cruisers aren't required to use it, which is why it's strange for me to see. And what I imagine happened is that this was not originally a heavy cruiser, it was a light cruiser by design, and then because of the 7-inch guns it was bumped up in rating, and they never changed the armor. So, but that's okay. I mean, that's a legacy ship as well. It's just a weird design. Okay, enough talking, more retrofitting. Yeah, let's get these Lavoisiers as well. Just need central firing. Another ship with pretty significant weight that we can play around with. Even though these are relatively new ships, no, not new enough. We'll get them. We'll get them fixed. Yeah, I'm actually pretty happy with this ship though. I really like the design. 5-sided 6-inch broadsides. Plenty of ammunition now because of the massive weight remaining. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand how it's possible. It seems like too good of a ship. We'll take it. It's a high compliment to our light cruisers. All our light cruisers are really good. So we'll get these, and we'll get the rest of these guys. While tensions are low, it's really good to do this. They do go into like reserve fleet for their retrofits. So there's no better time than the present when tensions are low to do this, so that they have enough time to build back up to good or maybe even elite quality on the other side. The Sardinias we don't need to change. I think that they are already... Oh, they aren't central firing. Okay. Well, then we might as well do it, shouldn't we? Let me just make sure I'm doing open design for rebuild. We can take it down to 140. That's still okay. Now, okay, let's do 145. It's just enough. Just squeaking in under the weight limit. And this is another very good ship. I mean, a really good job to the Historical Gamer. This is a light cruiser. I've mentioned a few times, so I'm very happy with it. Very good at killing destroyers, and still excellent at taking on other light cruisers. So it'll serve a fleet role very well. So we get that one. What have I done? I have forgotten about our budget issues, so let's just wait one turn here. Okay, good thing that the Friedland has completed her reconstruction. That'll give us like 2 million more. We're still at a pretty big negative though, so might have to wait a little bit. How's our tonnage situation looking though? If you scroll in this version, so I'm going to scroll up, it actually affects the zoom here. So let's scroll back out, zoom in. Okay, let's do it severe, zoom, zoom, zoom. There it is, we zoomed in. I'd never understood that. So it's like this map exists even when you don't have it pulled up. Yeah, just wanted to show why that was that we were so zoomed in. Yeah, okay, so let me stop bouncing. West Africa, we're still not good in? Oh god, I know why. Because I forgot to take these ships off. No, they are. Okay, what's the deal here? West Africa is fine. They're fine. Okay, when did the news faxes come in? I guess they're still being rebuilt. Okay, we'll wait then. We'll patiently wait. Yeah, it doesn't look like anything has really changed in the scheme for being able to cycle out ships. We need those old ships to finish, and I guess they haven't yet. So quickly moving on. All right, Sardinia. Now we're getting a few of them back. Very good. It must have been 4 months. And we also now have oil firing and torpedo technology. Now, France does not have initial access to oil, so it won't help us initially. We can see Great Britain, United States, and Austria-Hungary do, but not France quite yet. And these are the places that produce oil. Strange that Russia doesn't have access. I guess they have access to oil, but they haven't unlocked the technology for it yet. That makes sense. Okay, very good. And now with those ships back, can we cycle in some people? The Mediterranean only has 11,000 more than it needs, so we'll have to be a little bit careful about that. Although I am... No, I want to send the Charles Martel. It's a very light ship, and it goes 18 knots. I want to send that and the Brennus. These guys are my 18-knot battleships. I want to keep them grouped together. Those will be my new Mediterranean patrol, at least until such time as the Austria-Hungary or tensions with Austria-Hungary or Italy increase significantly. Then we'll change that around. But it doesn't look like we have enough to do anything here. Maybe move somebody from the Mediterranean. Oh yeah, these guys are back, so we can move these guys down to West Africa to start cycling those ships out. So next turn we'll be able to get these two guys built up to the next stage. Lots of ships finishing, better ASW. Okay. Now we should have plenty of surplus in West Africa. We do. So let's get these guys to rebuild. It's kind of the annoying thing about having such a large empire. Sometimes it's a lot of fun just to play as Japan. I would say just painful. There's nothing exciting or interesting to me about balancing out the foreign tonnage requirement. If they just did away with it entirely, I know it wouldn't be accurate, but it's just annoying to deal with. Okay, so let's see. We have these guys back in the Mediterranean, and the Mediterranean now is up to 42,000, so we can send both of them out. So let's get them. Where are the other Guidons? Southeast Asia. So we'll get that guy over there, and where else do we need to help replace ships? The Cosmo's in the Indian Ocean, so we'll get one over to the Indian Ocean as well, just to allow that Cosmo to upgrade. And then after that, all our fire control will be updated. And I won't have to do any more updating for all these ships until after my tenure. It'll probably fall on XTRG to do the next round. And good riddance, really. Okay, so... he needs to wait. These guys, Southeast Asia, how's that look? Yeah, not good. How are we looking in West Africa? Still have 5,600 left. So I guess if the true date, yeah, we can get this one to upgrade as well. And in fact, the other true date, we don't want this ship here. We'll move them over to West Africa temporarily as well. Because we don't want, we only want our fleet helpers, the Lavoisier and the Sardinias, in Northern Europe. Speaking of the Sardinias, those guys are already, we can cycle them in. Trying to do this as quick as possible. We're really keeping our funds like, it's not good to have only 3 months of savings in your balance, but we're really nicking it close. I mean, 5 million is just really a low amount, but that's okay. The Chardons is finished. That's going to be another big jump. I think that's another historical gamer class, so that should be. And battleships are finishing their reconstructions. Wow, look at that. We're up to almost 6 million. Counterintelligence believes that Great Britain has stolen technology from us. Well, tensions are just dropping despite my best intentions. So we will try to flare up things. It's really insignificant. Try as we might. Nobody wants to fight us. Historical gamers scared them all off, really. So let's get these Guidons out. One's moving to Southeast Asia already. Let's move one over to... Let's move one over to West Africa. I know I have so many light cruisers there, but I'm going to spread those guys out eventually. And let's move... Let's see. What is our... We have a pretty large base in West Africa, Southeast Asia. So let's probably get a second one to Southeast Asia. Yeah, we only have one going to Southeast Asia. So let's actually... I'm going to change where this guy goes so that the two going to Southeast Asia are together. Well, I guess this one will be retrofit, so it doesn't really matter. Anyway. And let's send this guy down just to... Oh, yeah, he's going to West Africa. Okay. And Indian Ocean should be fine now at 24,700. 24,700. This is... Actually, that's... We're about to lose 11,300. The math is hard. So we have about 13,000 remaining. So yeah, that's going to be plenty for the Cosmo to retrofit. It's just a single ship. It's almost silly to do it. It doesn't really make a big difference, but you know what? We might as well be consistent. I really dislike this ship, though. You know what is a better solution? How much is this guy? 100,000? Goodbye. Goodbye. I don't want to deal with that. It's just, ugh, gross. 150,000 for that? No. No, sir, I will not. I'd much rather a Lavoisier or Sardinia, even without the 7-inch guns. I don't know. Another thing that I didn't actively point out, and now it's too late. I guess I could bring up the design here. Yeah, here it is. Is that it has these guns in casemate. So these are not turreted. It was actually just crazy that it was actually case-mated 7-inch guns on the sides with the 7-inch turrets in the front and aft. Ugh. All right, I'm letting my disgust is bleeding out too much. Okay. Let's see here. We're almost there. These guys need some help. Southeast Asia. One more turn? Do I have to maybe just wait one more turn? Yeah, they're getting there slowly. Okay, one more turn. Okay, after a naval visit by Japan, you are asked by a journalist to comment on the visiting ships. We might as well increase tension and add a little bit of increase for prestige as well. I'm actually more worried about the tension than I am the prestige. And we're actually, with our budget, we might as well take these guys off halt, resume that, because we've done most of the retrofit stuff, the damage that's going to cause to the budget. Let's start getting these guys Mediterranean, and the 2 Charles Martel are not done yet. Okay, very good. Excuse me real fast. Excuse me again. Let's do that. Okay, West Africa. So I'll have to sort this out eventually, but as long as we end up satisfying the foreign tonnage, I'll just call it a day on camera for looking at all that. And look, even with the other historical gamer classes building, still at a positive budget. But no huge technological breakthroughs for us to take advantage of in a new design quite yet. Okay, so I guess just continue. Is there anything else we need to do? I guess this guy, finally this guy can be rebuilt. And then after that we'll take care of the Sphaxes. You know what? How over... Yeah, we're quite over... Let's get this guy over to Southeast Asia to help out with the budget, the foreign tonnage situation there. Okay, so for private shipbuilding helped us out by 1,000. Charles Martel. Austrian government wants to buy oil fire ink. Well, of course they do. They actually have access to oil. But I'm not worried about them. They're not really a threat, so we'll take the money. Okay, good. We actually have superimposed X turrets. You know what? It actually makes me think maybe we should try to somehow get to... Because if we're able to get superimposed B turrets, we'll be so far ahead of the game with the... We'll be at the end game ship design. Oh, we don't have 4 centerline turrets yet, so never mind. We could do a weird design right now with the flared side turrets. Let's see. I'm pretty sure if I just tell the computer to generate it for me, it's going to do exactly what I think. Yeah, exactly. The flared side turrets and the two rear. This is not a bad design. We get a 4-sided broadside on both sides. We could do 13-inch guns or 14 at quality -1. What are we limited to? 25,000? I mean, wow. You can get the 14-inch guns on this. It's quite a sizable ship. Hum. Move that back so it's not in the bridge. Yeah, I don't know. We'll keep this in the back of our mind. This is not how I would design it, though. I do not want a low conning tower. The bridge should be protected. I think it only makes sense. But we'll start thinking about the new design, the new dreadnought, the first dreadnought. Okay, we have look at the Italian armored cruiser, the Amalfi class. Yeah, so they're probably also suffering that penalty to their turrets, the 10% for not being 9 inches or more. A decent ship. This reminds me a lot of our Deputy-Trois. Okay, destroyers are getting stronger. Okay, so technology leaks from our industry have helped Austrian research and machinery development, but we just sold them oil firing, which is machinery development, so it's not the worst thing. Let's see, how are we doing? Southeast Asia now has... Okay, so anybody in Southeast Asia who needs to retrofit, we have 15,000 tons available for you to do so. So go ahead and do it. That might be the last of the retrofits we need. Let's sort by type once more. Kind of look down. Historical Gamer is new, so she's basically a 1906, 1907 retrofit. Alright, nothing left but our destroyers, and these were made in 1903. These were made in 1906. Yeah. Oh, hey, that's my minesweepers. Well, while we're looking at them, let me get a whole bunch more. I love them. Build all the minesweepers. So the only destroyer class I kept, I guess, was this Braun-les-Bas. But they probably won't need retrofit for at least another... I'd say 8 years is the earliest I see ships starting to get the little O by the year, which indicates that they're obsolete, that they need to be retrofit to be kept up to snuff. Even if you just save the exact same design, I consider that just like throwing a new coat of paint on the outside. That's enough to make them not obsolete or old. Okay, so that's good. We've pretty much solved all our problems. Okay, everyone's interested in buying stuff from me, but why aren't people offering to sell me something? Like superimposed front turrets, for example. New docks complete. Machinery upgrades, which is good. Better fire control, which I'm really happy with. We'll keep building new, larger docks, especially with this increase, with the budget that we've kind of run into. Yeah, things are looking really good right now. The ship has stabilized. Alright, I think it's time for us to kind of take a look at the situation. So we only have one ship in the Indian Ocean. That's probably not acceptable. Let's get these Charles Martels to move to the Mediterranean. Okay. We also want the... So no, we don't want any of these light cruisers like the Sfax and the Trude. We don't want any of them in Northern Europe. So let's send the Trude... this will be the one we help out Indian Ocean with. And then the two Sfaxes, we'll send them to like, let's get one over to the Caribbean maybe. Just positioning them for raiding activity later. And then the other one over to, we have the South Pacific. It's not a sea zone that you often see talked about. Good God that we zoomed out. The reason why that's happening out, did I already show this? That when you're here, if you zoom in, it zooms in here. I think I already showed it, but silly. So that's the South Pacific. Not one that's utilized a lot. If we go to war with Great Britain, it could be. So having one Sfax chilling there and doing convoy raiding when we go to war seems like a acceptable thing. But why is tension just dropping? You can't do anything about it. Wow, triple turrets. That is huge. if we were to get superimposed front turrets, you know what? I think it's crazy enough for us to try to actually... Okay, we just gotta break through in that. We always keep fire control highest though. I really do want torpedo production too, so let's put that up to high. We can, even though we have a huge tech advantage in quadruple turrets, I don't expect that'll happen immediately. I'm actually perfectly fine just using triple turrets because you actually need, I think triple turrets suffer a penalty until you get a technology which decreases that, and the same with the quadruple turrets. So I want this on extra high, and the only way to do that really is to set other things to low. So that's what we'll do. Torpedo. Gosh. So let's set this to low, and always naval guns will be set on high. So let's try this for a little bit to see if we can squeeze out ship designs needed for us to... we could do cross-deck fire, but I didn't show this. Like let's just pretend that we're doing cross-deck fire. This is interesting though. We have the triple in the front, triple in the rear. I mean, that's not a bad design. This is not a terrible design. This really is not. And they didn't utilize the full amount of tonnage. We can build this up to 27,000, which means we bet we can get 14-inch guns on here. Yeah. With torpedo production 1? Oh my gosh. I'm like talking myself into this. I don't like the secondary. Uh-oh, my throat. Excuse me, one sec. It makes no difference, casemate or turret. Huh. Huh, indeed. Well, this was supposed to be all about showing off the cross-deck fire mechanics. I just want to show the arcs here. You can see the rear is limited to like this 45 degrees off the center line, but the side guns here, they cannot fire directly forward. However, at least they do fire at a better angle than your rear guns. This is 30 degrees off the center line, if I'm not mistaken. So, or that, approximately. So having them here is a little bit better. Now, if we wanted to do cross-deck configuration, you can see we're at weight savings. We're basically at weight right now. If I removed this one and removed the superimposed, we wouldn't need that. We can go to cross-deck fire by adding, okay, we have G, starboard wing, which means we need J, port wing, double turret to make it symmetric. And there, cross-deck fire, you can see that the angle here is significantly less. But our weight savings. Now, this is the same number of turrets firing if we get a full broadside. If we hit this sweet spot, this is still, remember the old one was superimposed here, and then 2 here with 1 here. So it was 4-sided broadside at most. And this is also a 4-sided broadside with a weight savings of 1.5 thousand tons. It's pretty significant. It's definitely worth considering doing. The preference, obviously, the ultimate preference is going to be not to have cross-deck fire because that arc is so limiting. You end up really spending a lot of time trying to get this little, I think this is like a 60-degree window. It looks like it's 60 degrees off the center and then also 60 degrees off the other center, which would make sense. It should be symmetric compared to what this is like 30 degrees off and 30 degrees off. So it's, it's only half the arc. But if you can hit that sweet spot, and it's not too difficult to do, it just means that your maneuvering capabilities are significantly reduced if you want to get the full broadside off. It's such a weight savings to get it done. And this doesn't take into consideration how punishing cross-deck fire was for a ship. I mean, you can imagine the torque. It's such a weird situation where you have two guns firing in the same direction and trying to counterbalance that. If it's not at the center, you have more torque the further from center you go. I don't know how they did it. I wouldn't have thought about this. I would have just put them in the center right away. But that's just part of the way it goes, is that you can do cross-deck firing if you want. So, yeah. It doesn't really even cost that much more. 1255 to 1318. Really almost nothing. But we'll just keep that in the back of our heads. We're heading towards something, but what exactly, I don't know. Okay, everyone wants to buy. Why will no one sell? We're just like a technological marketing, not marketing, industry. We research stuff and then sell it. Oh wow, quality 1, 12-inch guns, oh my gosh. No. Couldn't it have been any other naval guns? Couldn't it have been anything else? I do not want to go through, I'm not going to. I don't want to go through and do every single ship again. Oh my gosh. But you know what? You know what really could use it? And I'm going to wait for these guys to finish. Does accelerating them help at all? By 1 month? By 1 month. How much increased cost is it? 29 versus... Wow, it's pretty significant. 500,000. Okay, normal pace. It's only 1 month. The faster I can get these guys up, I don't like... I think it's a bug, I'm not sure if it's ever been fixed, that if you have one ship that if you retrofit a ship while another one of the original class is coming out, it can bug out. Uh-oh. Sorry about that. Excuse me. It can bug out the previous ones. I think it sometimes gives them, it makes them slower. They'll turn out to be, it'll give you that warning that are slower than expected. And we do have to retrofit the historical gamer anyway because she was coming up as overweight. And I think a retrofit will help that. So, as soon as the other guys are out, we'll get that done. Here's the British battlecruiser that we would be up against. Oh my gosh, we would smash this with our design I just showed. Well, actually, the armor would be a bit weak. And now we have these 12-inch guns. I hate this. 1% saving on armor. For me, the new design situation is always one more turn, waiting for that one big technological breakthrough, which is not how this era went. You know, you were designing ships. The joke about this era is you would design ships that would be obsolete by the time they were finished being built. So, okay, double torpedo tube mount. That would be fantastic. Please. Our destroyers would really step up in functionality if that were the case. Increase in economy, so we don't really need that right now. It's kind of this funny time period where we actually have the budget to do anything we want, but we don't have the technology to get what we want. Yeah. Oh, come on, man, come on. Now I'll definitely sell cross-deck fire to the U.S. government because the U.S. has a bonus to superimpose turret, so they will almost surely not make use. Wow, British now have 15-inch guns, but the Americans certainly won't be making use of cross-deck fire. Okay. Bika, that is a weird design. They could have just merged this into one. The Pasadena class. Ugh. And they have 2 4-inch guns. Wow, that's a really terrible design. Oh my gosh, they're close to 4 centerline turrets. And we got 15-inch guns. This is it. This is it. This is it. All right, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, we don't have superimposed front. Okay, how do we get superimposed front? I know already it is ship design, so this has to go high like it's never been on high before. Let's just drop this down to low. Let's drop this down to medium and this down to medium. Okay, let's try this. Come on, we need superimposed fronts and then we can design like the end game. But very soon we actually are gonna run out of time. If you go, I actually don't remember what the amount is. But if your funds, the amount you're hoarding, yeah, it's your typical bureaucratic thing. If you don't spend all the money we give you for a year, we take it away. Because obviously you didn't need it if you didn't spend it. So, the end of the year, everyone spends to make sure that you come in like at more or less at budget, which shows stupidly is the way that you show that you need all that budget. Anyway, it's something similar exists here. If you don't make use of all the funds, they will be taken away at 5% chunks at a time until you're below some limit, which I don't remember. But I think it's related to the yearly budget somehow. Maybe half of it, in which case we still have about 50 million more to go, and I think that makes sense because we have a very high budget right now. We're just waiting to get the historical gamer redesigned. Only 5 more months. If we accelerate this, it will not do anything. Okay, then don't accelerate it. Oh boy. And we're just about at time, running out to 40 minutes right at this moment. Oh, we need that torpedo protection too. We don't care about anti-submarine. Come on. Okay, the Tortuga's commissioned. Oh yes, finally, tensions, finally. Budget, tensions, prestige, everything we could want. Torpedo protection 2, this is fantastic. And they aren't taking away money yet. Okay, alright. Well, let's not be insane about this. Let's just take a look at the ship design we could do. Yeah, this is basically what I suspected. We could move this one to superimposed instead of being just aft centerline. Let's see what the difference is. Yeah, I know, but... Oh, but I want to increase the gun as well. So it's only 1591 versus 1515. I think it makes perfect sense, even though it's going to look quite ugly, to do the configuration like this. It's really, really ugly. You know, you would expect that if they could do rear superimposed guns, they could do front. And especially on the French, you know, you think of like the Dunkirk, the Dunkirk was only front guns. It was inspired by the Nelson. So, a little bit strange that we can't get our front superimposed, but I think we will go with 15-inch guns. It's kind of crazy that we have this capability. And we have 29,000 we could do. Oh my gosh, we could actually do it. But I think I'm going to think about this off camera, so we're going to call this video to a close here. We're ever so close to designing the new dreadnought. Off camera, what I'll do is just make sure that all these ships are where they are, where they should be, and I'll just move them, like these guys you can see are not in the correct area. I'll do all this moving off camera though, so we don't have to bore you with just getting the foreign tonnage stuff situated. So thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode. Should be coming out another 2 days. And until then, take care.